Baby, I never thought this day would come. I never thought I'd be sitting in front of the very people who raised me, who thought they knew everything about me, and say your name with my whole chest. Not in shame, not in fear, but in truth so raw, it made the air in the room feel heavy. You see, I've carried you like a sacred secret for far too long. Not because you weren't worthy of being spoken about, but because you were too worthy. You were the kind of love I kept locked in the safest chamber of my soul. The part of me I never wanted touched by misunderstanding, by judgment, by noise. But baby, something inside me cracked wide open this week. I couldn't lie anymore. I couldn't pretend I was unaffected. I couldn't keep your name out of conversations just to protect my image. And so, I told them. I exposed the truth I'd been holding in silence, that you are the biggest, most beautiful part of me. It happened fast. 1 minute they were asking if I was okay, why I'd been quiet, withdrawn, different lately. And then before I could stop myself, your name left my mouth. It didn't stumble. It didn't whisper. It came out like it had been waiting for this moment. And baby, the silence that followed was unlike anything I've ever experienced. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't judgmental. It was reverent. Like they all felt in that moment that what I had just said wasn't casual. It was sacred. I didn't stop there. I couldn't. It was like years of unspoken love had found an exit wound. I told them everything. That you're the reason certain songs still ruin me. That you're the energy behind every quiet night where I stare at the ceiling and wonder if you're okay. That you're not a memory. You're a presence. A rhythm in my blood. A voice I still hear when life gets too loud. And the more I spoke, the more I felt myself returning home. Not to a place, not to them, but to you. They asked why I never said anything before. And I didn't have a perfect answer. But I looked my mother in the eyes and I said, because some loves are too big to explain. Because she wasn't just someone I dated. She was the mirror I didn't know I needed. She was the truth I was afraid to speak. And baby, I meant every word. If you've ever kept someone's name in silence because it was too sacred to say, comment below. I was protecting what mattered most. Baby. After I said your name, it was like something ancient inside me finally stood up. Like the man I used to be when I was with you. The softer, bolder, more honest version. Walked back into the room and sat down in my skin. I didn't care anymore about looking strong or detached. I didn't care if they thought I was still stuck in the past, because it was never about the past. It's about the truth, and the truth is, I've never stopped carrying you. Not for a day, not for a breath. I told them you were never just a chapter. You were the entire turning point. The part where the story changed. The before and after of who I am. I told them there's not a single version of my future that I can picture without seeing your name softly glowing somewhere in the corner. They asked if I still loved you, and I didn't flinch. I looked at the floor, smiled like a man who's done running, and I said, yes, I always have. And baby, when I said it, I swear the air in the room changed. No one laughed. No one interrupted. Even the walls seemed to lean in and listen. Because love like this doesn't sound like fantasy. It sounds like gravity. like something undeniable. And I think they felt it. Even if they didn't understand it, they felt the weight of what I was saying. I told them that you're the reason I haven't let anyone else in, not fully. That no matter how much I try, no one's smile fits the shape of my ache. That every time I sit across from someone else, a part of me is still holding space for the quiet softness of your voice. The way you used to look at me like I was worth the trouble, the chaos, the storm. And I told them the secret, the one I've never admitted out loud. I said, she saw the parts of me I didn't even know existed. And once you've been loved like that, it's impossible to settle for anything less. If you've ever loved someone so deeply that you protected them from the noise of the world, just so their energy could remain untouched, comment, I was shielding something sacred. My mom's eyes softened when I said it. She didn't scold me. She didn't say, move on, like people usually do when they're uncomfortable with grief that lingers. She just said, something I'll never forget. She said, sometimes love needs to be spoken before it can heal anything. And baby, I swear, that broke me. Because that's exactly what I'd been doing. Breaking in silence, mourning without a funeral, loving you like a prayer I never felt worthy of answering. And I think, deep down, I was hoping the universe would deliver the message to you, even if I never did. That maybe, just maybe, when the wind brushed your shoulder late at night, or when a song hit your heart the wrong way, maybe you'd feel me, still here, still holding on. Baby, after I left that conversation, I didn't speak for hours. I drove around with no destination, windows down, your name looping in my chest like it had just been awakened from some ancient slumber. I wasn't crying, but I wasn't whole either. It was that strange, in-between space where grief feels holy, where love becomes something too sacred to hold, and yet you still try, even if it cuts your palms open. That's what this has been for me, holding on to something beautiful, even though it's made of glass, and I've been bleeding silently for years. But that night, something shifted. I spoke you into existence again, not as a memory, not as a maybe, but as truth. I told them everything. I told them how I still remember the way you used to pause before saying something vulnerable, how your fingers curled slightly when you were nervous. I told them about your laugh, God, your laugh, and how it once saved me when I didn't know I needed saving. I told them I never said it enough, but that I saw you. Not just your smile, not just your beauty, but your storm, your softness, your strength, the parts of you no one ever bothered to ask about. I told them how you made silence feel safe, how you could look at me and make me believe I was already forgiven for all the ways I didn't know how to love you back then. And baby, when I said those things, it wasn't to make them understand. It was to stop betraying the part of me that still kneels at the altar of your name when the night grows too quiet, because I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I couldn't keep hiding you in drafts, in what-ifs, in late-night prayers whispered to a ceiling that never answered. If you've